Welcome, everybody, to episode 22 of Julian's Lightroom. On this episode, I'm so excited to introduce Mega Coach Karlee. Karlee has been a friend and mentor of mine for the last few years. She's a heavy hitter in the Primal Movement community. She's got a level of energy and charisma that I have never seen anywhere else, and she so gracefully took the time to sit with me and have a beautiful conversation about movement journey, about faith, about mindset, and just about how we can honor ourselves and treat ourselves with love and respect, and how that reverberates out into the world. So grateful that she hopped on here with me, and I'm so excited to share this amazing person with the rest of you. Without further ado, here is Karlee and I's conversation. And yeah, for me, what I've been experimenting with the last few days is like wake up in the morning, make sure I move my body, not in any sort of like regimented way. I just go with what I'm feeling and what I think my body requires. And then I've been trying to practice visualization lately, which is a sort of manifestation, but I do kind of like a visualization for the day of like what kind of intention I want to have for the day, and then a visualization into the future of like what kind of direction do I want to go into. And yeah, I'm excited to continue practicing that. But I find when I do that, it sets a direction, it sets a tone for the rest of my day. And I feel like the more I do that, it's for me it is like an act of engaging with that faith. For me, it's an act of like receiving God in that moment, or engaging with God. And it's beautiful. It feels grounding. And you had mentioned that it's giving you a lot of like really positive things. Like, how would you say it's making you feel or move through the world?
I feel like it's been centering me so much. That grounding that we do with our feet in the grass and the sand, when we're moving our hips down on the floor, I feel like that's actually happening inside me, and it's giving me a
Mm,
lot of peace and clarity.
mm,
Whereas before, I find that because life moves so fast, especially, we're inundated all the time. Thank goodness for technology, because otherwise we
yeah.
wouldn't be having this conversation. However, it is so fast paced and it can spiral out of control, and maybe not the way that we like to spiral. And I find
Yeah.
that my mind can go down that path of overthinking and overanalyzing and
Mm,
overplanning, and feeling the weight of the world, that I have to figure out everything all on my own so
yeah.
fast and here and now. And
Yeah.
so returning to something like that with mindful reading, mindful writing, and the meditation, because that visualization is really powerful,
Mm,
especially doing that in combination with movement. I find
yeah.
that's just such a nice blend of those two worlds.
Mm,
And it takes away some of the burden that
mm,
maybe we carry on us. At least for me, I just used to put so much pressure on myself
yeah.
to
Yeah.
succeed and not to fail. And this is expectations, what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And now it's just a lot of trust and just knowing that there is a clear path forward. And if I just release and almost surrender, it's a
Yeah.
lot of surrendering. And
Mm,
that makes room and gives me greater perspective on what that direction is, like you mentioned, where that path is going to lead me, and just trusting that I'm going to get there regardless.
mm,
And just to have faith and trust in the process, just like we tell our clients, trust in
yeah.
the process,
Trust the
trust in the process.
process.
It is, Bam talks about this a lot, of showing up. It really is
Yeah.
this return to showing up for yourself every day and
Mm-hmm.
doing those little tiny things that
Mm,
seem maybe insignificant, but they really are powerful and they add up in big ways. So
mm,
just that daily mindful practice, regardless of what that comes from, whether it is a faith-based practice, another spirituality practice where maybe you're
mm,
returning to just honoring nature in general or the universe. I feel like
mm,
that's a really nice tool to help us with things like anxiety and excessive fear or
yeah.
worry. Um, those were some things I've struggled in my past with, and I
Yeah.
find that the more I return to center and this practice, the
Mm,
more it's just releasing that pressure and what gets me out of my own way. And
yeah.
so,
And how,
actually, I do you mind if I share something with you real quick?
please go
I
ahead. This is awesome.
I just read, and I just posted this. My daily devotional today started off by saying, "Welcome problems as perspective lifters," and I really like that a lot. Like all these, these
Mm,
struggles that we may feel, pains in the body, pains in the mind, things that are out of our control. So we're always grasping, but
Yeah.
using those problems and struggles as actual perspective lifters, like really
Wow.
elevating us, seeking
Yes.
a higher vibration and getting above,
Yes.
the top of the mountain so you can have a better view of the path is, I
Yeah.
really like that a lot. So that I feel like kind of sums up the long-winded way of, classic CK word
That's
vomit,
all
but
good.
it,
Keep it going.
giving me perspective. It gives me a lot of
Yes.
perspective in my life now. Whereas
Mhm.
before, I feel like I could only see maybe the one step in front of me, and now I can
Yeah.
just see the whole path.
Yeah.
And maybe the way to get to the end of wherever that path is going to take me, I'm not sure. There might be a
Mm.
lot of twists and turns along the way,
Mm.
but it's exciting to know, like, okay, we're good. We're good
Yes.
at the end of this. Like, there's only
Yes.
good moving forward. So
And it sounds like
yeah.
an opening up to everything, because a lot of what we
Yes.
can do is try to close ourselves and turn away. But the act
Mm-hmm.
of seeing those problems or challenges or issues
Mm-hmm.
as ways to invite a bigger perspective or a larger understanding means turning and facing that which is
Right.
difficult and accepting it and saying, like, here, I'm going to shine a light on it, and
Yes.
I'm going to make it real. And by like shining a
Yeah.
light on it and admitting to it and accepting it,
Yeah.
it becomes more real. But when it becomes more
Yes.
real, I find that it actually empowers us. We're like, okay, it's real. I can actually play with this and I can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
how crucial has this been for you, given that you have taken a path of entrepreneurship, which
Mm-hmm.
in and of itself is, I don't know if I want to use the word risky, but you do have to take on a lot of responsibility for yourself. You have
Mm-hmm.
to carve a new path. You have to make a new way that maybe no one's done before. And that asks a lot of someone. You have to do your finances. You have to manage your time. You have to manage your clients. You have to do your own education and your own practice. No wonder it feels like so many things to try to hold
Mm-hmm.
by yourself. And what better to have than something that is so consistent and so steady throughout all those
Right.
like tumultuous waves that you can always return to. And
Yes.
yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's kind of, you answered it basically. It's giving me a lot of balance
Mm,
and security in
hmm.
knowing there's going to be those ups and downs, those waves of life.
Yeah.
Before, it used to feel like those waves would almost feel like I was drowning or I was right above the surface. Like I'm
Yeah.
almost there, but
Yeah.
never quite being able to get to the top of the surface.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
or maybe bobbing right above the waves, but feeling like the tide is pulling you down. So it's
Yes.
just hard to get ahead of it.
Mm,
And now it just feels like anytime I have something consistent or a base or a
mm,
foundation to return to, I
yeah.
can be fearless in that and extend myself out a little bit more and challenge myself to push a little harder. So there is
Wow.
chaos in entrepreneurship. That unknown can be
Mm,
a little scary, but I like what you were talking about as far as fear goes and facing things. You've probably heard me say this, but I feel like I just shared this maybe with one of our other coaches or clients. But I
mm,
love the quote: "Fear has two meanings:
mm,
fear everything and run, or
hmm.
face everything and rise."
Yeah.
So when I have this foundation, I can be bold, I can be fearless. The other thing I feel like it really helps me value quite a bit as an entrepreneur is even if my business is right now individual,
Mm,
obviously we do a lot of work with Primal Movement as a team, but we are also all entrepreneurs in our own right.
yeah. Yeah.
And I do appreciate and value so much community aspect of that.
Mm,
Even though I'm an individual ownership of my business,
hmm.
I know that I have support behind me
Yeah.
and knowing I don't have to do this alone. And
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
huge. Whether it is I don't have to do this alone from a faith standpoint, or
Hmm.
I also don't have to do this alone from a true community standpoint. And that community is everything. And
Yeah.
feeling very raw and real and authentic in this community just continues to be encouraging and supportive. So the noise can be there, the chaos of entrepreneurship, so many
Uh-huh.
plates to juggle. I don't know if that's the right or balls to juggle,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
depending on the analogy. But knowing that even if there's a mistake or something falls, you have people that are there to support you, to catch you.
Mm,
You have
mm,
an outlet, you have a base that you can always return to rebuild. And
yeah.
that gives me confidence and courage. I think are the biggest
Absolutely.
things that faith gives me: confidence and courage to keep trying. Because there's gonna
Yes.
be mistakes, there's gonna be failure. I'm gonna miss an email. I'm gonna not
Oh
have
yeah.
the greatest session. I'm gonna, this and that.
Yeah. It's
There's
coming.
gonna be,
Yeah.
yeah, there's gonna be slow months, but
Hmm.
knowing that the storms are part of the growth is really
Mm.
exciting. So I feel like the last few months, especially having more of this practice where I can really be present and solid in my foundation, I feel like
Mm.
I'm not just treading water anymore. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
actually like on
Yeah.
top of the waves, sailing
Amazing.
a little bit
Yes.
more
Checking the
and able
boxes,
to,
still
yeah,
feeling the ups and downs, still feeling the
yeah,
wind, but gliding
yes,
through it
yeah,
and learning
mhm,
how to move with it. Like
right,
not resisting those forces, but maybe being
yes,
like, okay, these winds come in. Now I know what they're
yeah,
like. I can set my sail in a way that maybe
oh
takes
yeah,
advantage of it. And
oh yeah,
maybe that's the art of,
right,
growing up and learning how the world works and how all these different
hmm
dynamics work. And
hmm
I love that primal movement can refer to itself as a tribe a lot of the time because I love like having a fantastical perspective on what maybe tribe life was or is like,
right,
and it would be individual in the sense that each person would need to provide and contribute and do their own kind of special, unique quality. But at the same
right,
time, there wasn't just one hunter, there was a group of hunters, but maybe within the
hmm
hunters, they each had their own special way of doing things. And so
hmm
it's when I think about primal movement, it's like we got some people in this space who are maybe leaning into the content creation, who lean into the coaching, who are maybe looking for different modalities, like massage therapy and adding that to their kind of arsenal. But at the end of the day, we still have this group tribe that's all moving in one
right,
intentional direction. And we're
yes,
all trying to provide our best value to it. Like, what are we
right,
really good at, and how can we share that with everybody?
right,
And so, in a sense, it's
absolutely,
like it can feel individual and alone, but we also have a lot of people going through the same things that we're going through. And
right,
especially when times get tough and things are crazy and chaotic and there's so much going on, it can feel super lonely. Um,
hmm
and yeah, I can. So I feel like I often put as much on my plate as I can possibly handle, and I'm like
hmm
trying to hit that like limit. Do you relate
yeah.
to that? Is that kind of how you try to set things up?
Oh yeah, I call it a full sending it.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
full send it, and I do thrive in that setting. I
Uh
do
huh.
like a little pressure.
Uh
I
huh.
like being busy, and I find
Mm-hmm.
if I'm too idle, it is actually worse for me. I
Yeah.
like the
Same.
business, but again, finding the intentional moments because I want to be busy and have a
Yeah.
lot on my plate, but I can only do that if I'm also filling my cup and making sure
Yeah.
that in that busy time, there's also allocated busy time for myself where I can be selfish, not really selfish, but
Mm. Mm.
uh, take time to detach from
Yes.
maybe the busyness with other individuals or the energy that I'm giving out into the world
Yeah.
and being
Yeah.
able to go inwards and fill up that energy, refuel that, recharge that battery a little
Yes.
bit too.
Yeah.
So the day stays busy because I definitely allocate time for myself, and that's important.
Mm.
It's important to have the professional and also the social time and the alone
Mm.
time
Mm-hmm.
and all these different little times to keep filling up the cup. I think that's just the biggest thing, and
Yeah.
that can be a challenge at times to find a balancing act, but
Mm.
when you do, you're able to show up in those other avenues or those other areas of your life even more so.
Mm.
So it's been
Yes.
actually really nice being able to. I feel that this year I had a big move,
Mm.
and before I feel like I just used to be busy for the sake of being busy.
Mm.
I got to keep working, got to keep hustling, got to do more, more,
Doesn't matter
more.
what it is as long as something's happening.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
But then a lot of that busyness was also just not. I think the biggest word to come back to is intentional.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
busyness, but maybe not productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And my cup was maybe, or I know Coach Luis uses the analogy of capacity a lot. And I feel like
Yes.
I was pushing that limit, pushing that capacity. And then if I wasn't doing something productive because I was busy, but maybe not being productive,
Yeah.
that pressure would build up again. And then
Yeah.
it would start to feel like I
Mm.
would just, I don't know how that fits exactly, but I would just start to overstress myself.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, my cup would just overflow, and then it would just get to a point where I was not as inspired or energetic. I would still show up for the
Yeah.
work, but
Yeah.
then other areas of my life were probably suffering. But
Mm.
now removing myself and truly being in a place that is inspiring to me, and that I can be outside a lot and do the
Mm.
things that I feel like really invigorate me and fill me with
Yeah.
passion,
Yeah.
helps a lot. So I think it's about finding the areas and spaces in your life, or the things that you like to do, or the people that you like to be around, that can help you feel productive and like you're accomplishing a lot, but also fill you
Mm.
back up too. I think those are
Yes.
really, really important and powerful.
The
So it's
word
that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the word meaningful is coming up.
Hmm.
Like making
Hmm.
sure that time is intentional and meaningful
Hmm.
as well as productive. And maybe
Hmm.
meaningful and productive can be one and the same, but also different
Right.
in a sense too. But ideally, it's both at the same time. Like the work that you're doing is
Hmm.
being productive or moving
Right.
forward and progressing.
Right.
But it's also work that feels deeply meaningful, that feels
Yes.
important to do, and like it's
Yes.
influencing and affecting people in such a great way. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just want to
Oh
jump
no,
in with that before it left my mind. But
it's good.
something you mentioned that I find interesting is the environmental change, like the move that you had made. And I want to know how that
Mhm.
has influenced your day to day experience or the, intention that you find in your everyday. How
Mhm.
important is locational environment to how you feel or how you or how you
Oh
live?
yeah. I think if you talk to astrologists and some other people in that world, the spiritual
Mm,
world as well, they'll highlight quite a bit on location aspects, and just geographic changes. And I realize now so much what environmental elements I need that really
mm,
just organically make me feel so full and
yeah,
happy and
yeah,
present. And it's definitely, I need to be by the ocean. I definitely am
yeah,
someone that just
yeah.
needs to be in a place that invites me to be outside in
Mm,
nature, fresh
hmm.
air, movement.
Yes,
And for me, it happens to be warm climates,
yeah,
coastal, tropical. I thrive
yeah,
in those elements. I
yeah.
do love, obviously, just all different kinds of geographic locations. The mountains are amazing, the lake
Mm,
areas. But
hmm.
I do find that personally, I thrive when I'm in warm weather, warm
Yeah,
climate, and
yeah,
just elements of water. I find that
yeah.
it's just, for me, it feels so different. And so where I was located before had, I feel like, served a really important purpose in a chapter in
Mm,
my life.
mm,
Um, but it was a different type of environment that was pretty heavy military based,
yeah,
which
yeah,
actually I'm in a military town here as well, which is interesting, but
yeah, yeah.
it's the Space Force. So I get to watch rockets launch
Kind
all
of
day. And
cooler.
then
Yeah,
it's like military people who shoot up rockets and then go surf. So it's kind
yeah.
of
That's
this
what's up.
cool,
Yeah, that's way cooler.
it's a
Yeah.
good balance. But very important aspect of our country, especially here in America. Military is a gives so much back to the families and gives people a lot of purpose and these types of
Mm,
things. However, the environment that I was in, it felt very landlocked for me.
hmm.
Geographically, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to be out on trails or be outside. It
Mm,
just had a very different heaviness to the city, I find.
yes. Yeah.
And here I feel a lot of freedom. And when I have
Yeah.
freedom and it's sunny all year long,
Yeah.
it calls me to be more creative. It fuels the creative capacity that I have. And
Yeah.
I'm able to take my coaching and not just do it virtually, which has been amazing, but also take
Mm.
it back into some more in-person coaching as well in these different outdoor elements.
I've seen you
So
doing that on the beach with some clients. Isn't that
it's
the
just
best?
it's the best. I love it so much. And so I would just recommend to anyone that it doesn't mean that the beach is the best. I may be
Mm.
biased, but
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
mean by any means the
It's
beach
not
is the
bad.
best.
That's for sure.
Some people don't like the heat. They love the intimacy of the cold weather and
Mm-hmm. Mm.
layering up and getting gritty and out in the colder environments. And they, like being inside. There's different earthy elements, whatever
Yeah.
your vibe is, just find a space and a place that inspires you. I think that's the biggest thing,
Yes.
regardless of what wherever it is. It could be completely landlocked and maybe you
Yeah.
thrive on that.
Maybe you
My
love
brother
that
for a while, yeah, my brother for a
desert.
while lived in yes, the he lived in Iowa, and that
Okay.
was just very landlocked out there. I lived in the
Yeah.
desert
Yeah.
for 4 years in college, and different scenes, very beautiful. I mean, the
Mm.
colors out there, the oranges and the yellows, and it just is incredible. And it had its own inspirational dose that I needed at that time in
Mm-hmm.
my life. But I would just say find your vibe and
Yeah.
find a place that you feel like you are excited and passionate to wake up. Maybe not every day, but of course, majority of the time is something that you can find a want to go out and be social in your community. Because that's
Yes.
it too. It's not
Yeah.
only just calling me outside in general and wanting to be active and move every day,
Yeah.
but it also makes me go out in the world and want to be social and find the people that I can connect with and resonate with. And it just continues to build this beautiful relationship and this complete life. I feel like I had a life before, and I'm so
Mm.
grateful for the online space. Again, I have a lot of great connections there, but now I
Yeah.
truly feel that community has blossomed even more in person, which is really important as well. It's this yin and yang. It's this
Yes.
balance. Again, I'm grateful for both, but I find that wow, where I live, it really feels different. It
Yes.
truly feels different in my everyday life, and so I'm very grateful for that.
I resonated especially with the word you used, which was the outdoors is inviting. The outdoors is saying, like, here, welcome, come outside, come and spend time with me. That's something that
Mm-hmm.
speaks to me a lot, being where I am located in southern
Mm-hmm.
Ontario. In the wintertime, it is not inviting outside. You know, you can go
Mm-hmm.
outside and you can push through it and you can be disciplined and make it happen. However, you know, for the kind of life that I personally want to lead, I want to be outside a lot. I want to be outside as
Right.
much as I can. It makes me feel amazing. It fills up my cup.
Right.
And if I'm in a place that it's not inviting to be outside, then it's kind of just one more extra um, amount of effort and willpower
Right.
spending on making that
Right.
happen, which is great and in and of itself has value. But I also feel drawn to places where the outdoors is warm, it's sunny, there are natural places to go, and it doesn't feel too like manicured or man-made, which is kind of like what I think you were getting to in terms of like the
Yeah.
military town, and there's probably a lot of, you know,
That's
streets
your
and
That's definitely a
buildings and
better.
lawns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know
Yes.
exactly what you mean. um
I
and
was trying to. You put it that manicured is the perfect way. Like just
manicured. I just love thinking about
structured. Yeah.
dudes mowing their lawn and they just love their lawn being perfect. But yeah, I feel drawn to, I love forests. I love the rainforest.
Yeah.
When I was out west, it was a beautiful place. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, all these different levels of being invited to get out, up and out of our house, because a
Yeah.
lot of what I feel like society has for us right now is like, stay in here, stay in the house.
Yes.
I could work from home. I can do everything from my house. I
Right.
can order food in. But when we get
Right.
to go out and engage with the world, it brings a level of like connection, of
Right.
unity, of holistic connection between all different aspects of our lives. And so
Yes.
I understand
Well, and
that.
can I say too, real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah.
I think that a lot, there might be people listening to this and they might say, well, you guys, I know that you like to be outside and you're primal, whatever they say, they have this
Mm,
visual of what we do. And I like to stay in my house. Like this
mm,
is my inspirational place. And I like being indoors and I like working on my computer and the tech side of things. I like the
mm,
modern manicured way of life. I don't really
mm-hmm.
want to go crawl in the sand or climb trees.
Yeah.
That is so okay. Maybe that is the inspiration, the safe space that you created for yourself. This
Mm,
what wakes you up in the morning, and you're like, great, I get to jump on my laptop, connect with people worldwide.
mm,
I
mm.
can I have my gym set up at home. Maybe there is a space because I know my garage used
Yeah.
to be
That's the
my happy
spot,
place
hey?
too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I built out this space that I could move. I think the biggest thing, and I'm sure you feel it too, is honoring the way of life that we used to live. Like you mentioned
Mm,
before, like thinking about
mm,
too how we used to be before we had this explosion of technology
mm,
and modern conveniences, which are amazing.
mm.
I love being able to drive to places. I love being able
Mm-hmm.
to have these conversations on my laptop and connect with
Yeah.
so many people. But I think the biggest thing that allows me to appreciate so much of what we do is just being able to reflect and honor what once was.
Yeah.
Because if we lose that connection to our past, and
Mm,
we get so disconnected, that's where I
mm,
know for you and I, that's why we feel so great when we go outside and we're outside in nature moving our bodies, because it is this return, is this remembrance of our ancestral times. Because if
mm.
we lose that, we start to move farther away from our human ability to just interact with the earth, and we start to move less.
Yeah.
Our patterns change, the compression sets in, the heaviness sets in, the
Hmm.
artificial way that we're living starts to creep into our bodies, and it does make a difference. It really
Yeah.
does. So it's not to take away from, maybe somebody doesn't like to be outside as much as we do. That's okay.
Hmm.
But it is important and to be able to honor what once was. So
Yeah.
finding time to reconnect with the natural way that we used to live is
Yeah.
still really powerful. I don't know where I was going
I
now with
think
that, but
I think so too. Like I
translate.
completely
Word vomit?
calculating.
Calculate. What did
Put
that
in
mean?
put in Chat GPT. Summarize this for me. No, no, no. I'm just playing.
That's my brain.
But 100% my own experience has been okay, like aiming some of my behaviors and lifestyle choices towards what I consider or understand to be more natural, or maybe like, you know, remembering our ancestors and where we came from. Um, it's proven to be this feeling of health and vitality that's rising for me that I can't deny. And it feels so truthful for me. And so I can't go on living my life and then telling myself personally, like, oh, outside time isn't that important. It's like, it's
Mhm.
absolutely important. And there's like, I'm taking that to the grave. And like, I don't know what would need to happen for that to change for me. Um,
Same
yeah, but
there.
but but it's true what you say about like we all have different dispositions, and even like I think humanity has evolved and adapted in different places around the world. So some people really thrive in colder climates,
Right.
but sometimes they're still spending a lot of time outside in these colder climates. And then other people, yeah, they may have more of a disposition to kind of stay indoors, stay in one spot. But if I think back to, if I if I theorize about what like hunter gatherer times might have been,
Yeah.
maybe that person's disposition is more specified to taking care of the home base, or like making sure everything's settled and good there, and like not just for their own comfortability but for the other people that share that space with them. And
Hmm.
it reminds me of this amazing post that I saw on Instagram where I forget the name of his channel, but not important right now, but he was talking about I might have ADD, I might have ADHD, I might have one of these things that we're putting a name on. But what I call it is actually a superpower when I'm out in the bush, because my inability to stay focused on just one thing means I'm perceiving so many things about my environment, and I'm actually very tuned in. And so he's kind of taking the perspective where he says what seems like a dysfunction in this kind of like artificial way of living we're creating is actually a massive benefit in a more kind of naturally aligned way of living. But it's funny because it's actually we're so deep in this like developed society that creating a more natural way of living is like, damn, we got to work for it. It's like we have to work towards it. And
Yeah.
we're such storytelling animals. Like
Hmm.
so much of the information and knowledge that we know is only available to us because the stories have been passed down from generation to generation. Um, Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but it's a beautiful thing. And one of the only reasons we have it is because we tell the stories.
I love
Yeah,
it.
man. Yeah, I love when that happens too. Just like
Yeah.
blank. Okay, I guess I'm done.
Let
Your turn.
it-
What do you got to say?
uh, welcome to my life.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's the best though. It's just, to me, it's, you can just feel the passion. Like I just love when we have these conversations because this is what it is. Like just
Mhm.
the passion is unfolding, and
Mhm.
it's wanting to share that gift with other people, and help spark that fire in them too. Like go seek it, go
Mhm.
find it. If you're feeling depressed and drained, and a
Mhm.
lot of times if you outsource where you're trying to find that happiness, that joy, that spark, a lot of times it's just, again, returning to center, returning to yourself, returning to things that are just so basic, so simple. But we do have to, like you said, work for it. It's crazy.
Mhm.
It takes effort. Like it's crazy that I think my brother and I were talking about this the other day about, just basic nutrition.
Mhm.
And when you start to tell somebody how you're taking care of the quality of what you're inputting. I know you made a video the other day, I think, about your nutrition. That's
Mhm.
so crazy to people. Like, what do you mean
Mhm.
you're eating basic
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ingredients that you actually know what you're putting into your meal? It's such a foreign thing for us. So What do you mean you're walking barefoot outside?
Yeah,
What do
that's
you mean you're
crazy.
sitting on?
You're a
What
weird
do you mean you're
dude.
sitting on the ground? Just sitting on the
Uh-huh.
floor. The amount
Oh,
of
the
time,
toe
like,
socks, dude. People love the toe. Well, the toe socks. It gets a reaction
oh yeah, yeah.
always. I love it.
Oh yeah. What do you mean? Like, do you want a chair? Do you want to sit? Get out. Like, oh, people are concerned when
Hmm.
you're sitting on the ground. They're like, no, 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 please. I'm like, I'm actually really good right now.
Yeah.
And
Oh, one
I
quick
think,
sec. Can we show
yeah.
off the seated position right now for people wondering what's going on and how
Oh
we're chilling in this space? I got my squishy
yeah.
ground. I got my pillow, Seiza.
Oh yeah.
We got crisscross
Oh
going
yeah.
on. We're
Cross
grounded.
applesauce,
We're getting it popping.
Caesar. Just
That's
the
awesome.
floor invites you to just spend. It really just tells you when you need to move. You're gonna
Uh-huh.
move a lot. It's
Uh-huh.
like fidgeting. It's constant. Versus when I was in that classic chair before, I would just for hours be
Yeah.
where we
Yeah,
going?
yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Mouth agape,
Yeah, yeah. Nose
and
closed,
now it's
mouth open. Yeah.
just literally this moment.
Uh-huh.
So,
Oh, I was gaming
but
hardcore for many years and it was like this. 8 hours.
oh yeah,
Repeat.
yeah, and
Hmm.
even now, the fact that I know in the virtual space, it's not a brag, but maybe a little bit. I feel like my cueing is so dialed in now when I'm coaching.
Nice.
Before, I used to move a lot to show and tell, like mimicking with
Mm.
my body. Now my cueing is pretty dialed in. I can literally sit like this while I'm coaching,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is great because I'm constantly moving around on the ground a little bit. However, the nature of the screen, it
Mm.
is what it is. It's a magnet. It sucks me in, or
Yep.
I'm looking at somebody. So
Yeah.
by the end of coaching, if I've coached a lot of sessions, it doesn't matter. I still feel that same thing as everyone else feels when they're clocking in. Even
Hmm.
though I'm doing movement, I have to balance it out with, okay, now I need to decompress away from the screen. Now I need to go for a walk. Now
Yes.
I need to go outside. So it's this constant feedback with your
Yes.
body,
Yeah.
constantly feedback.
And
And I will say too, we all start somewhere. You don't know what you don't
mm,
know. So,
mm,
like you said, you used to game a lot. I used to wear the narrowest shoes, cleats. I
yeah,
grew up in
yeah,
cleats playing soccer.
yeah.
I used to couch slouch it up for sure as my resting
Hmm.
period all
Hmm.
the time. It wasn't like overnight. I switched shoes. I completely changed my posture. I got rid of my couches. It's a journey. It's a
Yeah.
journey.
Yes.
Eventually, your body tells you like, we need
Hmm.
this.
Mm.
We need this. And then, like you
Yeah.
said, you find your truth. You're like, I cannot unfeel this. I cannot
Mm.
unsee it. I can't unfeel it. I know what makes me feel so good. I can't
Yeah.
deny it.
Yeah.
So you just keep leaning into it more and more. And it's fun.
Exactly. It feels like yeah, honoring it's honoring our body. It's
Hmm.
learning how to honor our body and it's learning how to listen to the signals that it sends us and then try to be as honest with ourselves as possible.
Hmm.
And then sometimes
Hmm.
coming to that honesty means you're going to get reactions from the people around you who may have
Yeah.
been watching you or are expecting you
Yeah.
to live and act or wear certain things. And so when
Yeah.
you pull up one day with toe socks on, they've never seen it before, they're like, man, you just like the pattern has been obliterated. And it's like, oh, you're sitting
Yeah.
on the floor, the pattern has been obliterated. It's like, what is going on? It's a shock. And then
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like non acceptance from the people around us because
Right.
they're not sure what to think of it. And they're like, whoa, are you like everything I thought I knew you were? Is that just gone now? Or
Yeah.
what's going
Right.
on? But as long
Right.
as, I don't know, as long as we stay truthful and honest to ourselves, I think that that's recognized by other people. And then
Yeah.
they just see us as doing something that's in our best interest, doesn't hurt anybody, it makes us feel good. And
Right.
and then staying true to that. And I think that people really feel that. Um,
Hmm.
there was like, I won't get into too much detail, but at work there was an instance in the last few days where something dishonest happened, but the person who did that followed through, made reparations with extreme honesty. And that
Hmm.
duality there of the dishonesty to the honesty and shining a light on themselves made a massive impact on the people around them. And they even said that. They said, wow, that person coming through and being honest and like being vulnerable like that made a huge impact, inspired us big time. And I think that we try to do that in like little ways for ourselves. When we try
Right.
to take care of ourselves, when we want to go outside or put something on our body that makes us feel good.
Right.
A realization I'm having to kind of go back to that environmental conversation we were having, is in the wintertime, I can feel all these layers and all this pressure and constriction on my body from all these different
Right.
clothes closes me up, makes me want to hunch in,
Yeah.
makes me want to conserve
Yeah.
heat, also makes me very
Yeah.
small. I don't feel liberated, tall, free, and open. And so
Mhm.
coming to terms with that, um, it gives me thoughts and feelings like I want to be somewhere where I don't need to wear so many layers, where my body can be open and free and long
Right.
as much time as possible. Does that mean that I may want to leave the place that I'm in or I have been in?
Mhm.
That could be true. And
Mhm.
it might be hard to admit that to ourselves or to other people.
Right.
It's
Right.
pattern interrupts,
Right.
kind of
It is.
challenging for people sometimes. I know they are.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest word, pattern interruption.
Mm,
And knowing how much you want to push that barrier, especially with people that you've built trust up with in a certain aspect. Like
yeah.
you were saying, maybe they do see a certain way. They know you as this person, but as
Mm,
you're evolving and changing and morphing,
mm,
that can make people uncomfortable. And so I think as long as, like you said, you're not hurting anyone else, you're honoring and being honest with yourself and authentic and genuine.
mm,
And then that intention and invitation word, just like you said with the environment, when it's this certain way that it makes you feel open and confident and big and free and inspired.
mm.
It's inviting you back out there. Same thing that we can do with others as well, just by leading
Yeah.
by example and
Yes.
having those genuine conversations and not just showing it and shoving it in people's faces, but just,
Mm,
hey, why does this make you feel uncomfortable when I wear toe socks? Let me tell you a little
yeah.
bit about why I wear them. Let me
Yeah.
tell you about my experience. So that storytelling, it just all keeps coming back, inviting, storytelling, living from a place of authenticity
Yeah.
is really powerful. And sometimes it makes other people have to look at themselves in the mirror a little bit. It's this
Mm,
reflection, and
mm.
that can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just like we have to look in the mirror and say, dang,
Yeah.
okay, I know during these, like you said, this environment makes me feel X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
This environment makes me feel X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
At what point do I want to risk the move? Am I okay with understanding that there's going to be seasons right
Yeah.
now in the year where I'm going to be a little bit more compressed? So I have to make those choices to decompress and maybe use
Mm.
the red light or whatever I need to
Yeah.
balance out
Yeah.
those darker seasons.
Yeah.
Or am I in a place where I can make a change? What areas of my life can I step forward? Can I make a change? That's
Mm.
not always easy. It's not always easy for others when we don't
Mm-mm.
know. So just continuing to offer that mirror for other people and ourselves. And then
Yes.
just seeing where we can keep showing up and what choices can we make. Because I will say it's not always easy to make a move, especially moving
Mm-mm.
down here.
Mm-mm.
Unfortunately, as with most things, takes money.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of times,
Oh
things
yeah.
in life at this point just take
Yeah.
money, but looking at it as an investment or, okay, where can I allocate my funds right now? What am I
Yeah.
feeding my income towards? And
Yeah.
can I make a shift? Also, community, like who do I know that can assist me with this move? Where can I
Mm.
go to make a change? So
Yeah.
maybe it's family or connections or friends to reach out to.
Yeah.
Maybe it's choosing a place that's not our top priority, but another step closer
A
to
little
that
bit
spot,
closer. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit closer. So
Yeah.
it takes some time, but eventually when it feels right, you'll continue pushing into that direction. Just like, whether it's a move or I will say the examples that come up to go back to our just little choices, because maybe we're talking big move is a big lifestyle change.
Yeah.
But when we think about little things, like you said, the toe socks, the shoes, those were how I baby stepped into this bigger, broader perspective of the path I wanted my life to head down towards. It
Yeah.
started with just a shift in my awareness of my fitness, athletic training.
Mm-hmm.
Then it
Mm-hmm.
went into my shoe choices. I
Yeah.
started making a change from Asics. I used to live in Asics, and
Yeah.
there was another shoe, like Vans, maybe.
Yeah.
I used
Yeah.
to love it.
Yeah.
But those narrow shoes and cleats into, okay, why don't I just change into a ultra shoe? Why don't
Mm.
I just
Mm-hmm.
change into a Vivo shoe?
Perfect
Same price
transition
point,
shoes. Yes. Yeah.
same price point,
Yeah.
boom, easy switch. Just
Yeah.
made no difference. Actually, even sometimes on sale, there's things that I'm a frugal person too, so I'm all about the
Mm-hmm.
deal. So
Mm-hmm.
I find the sale, make the switch.
Yeah.
Okay, what if I just spend more time on the ground and change up my desk environment.
Mm.
Even right now, for example, this is funny,
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like I want to show this.
Yeah,
This is
show
my
it.
desk right now. Here is a
Works at
box.
Banana Box.
This is
That's
my desk
awesome.
right now.
And I see all the
So
little like weights spread out around the ground, little like
yeah,
items. Oh yeah.
stool, little
Yeah,
tiny
that's what we
stool to
got.
hinge on,
We
some
got
bands.
uh-huh. Always in arm's
Got my,
reach. Love
oh
it.
yeah, always got my little boards if I want to over here, a little
Yeah,
slant
those are
board,
awesome.
the
Yeah.
floor, the wall. But that
Yeah.
was a little change. And then eventually I did uh we have ended up selling the couches, and then especially when I moved here, I didn't bring any other
Yeah.
furniture. So it takes time. I don't expect
Yeah.
people to just like, all right, you're working with me now?
Sell your
Buy my
couch.
couch, sell
Yeah.
your couch.
That's a big
No,
change for people. That's really
that's
like
the biggest. I
that's
think that's a big
big.
one. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So baby steps, small steps, just like we
Baby
talk about with
steps.
that.
Exactly. That was me learning to sleep on the ground. I got my little fold up bed right here on the side. I lay it down here.
Yes.
When I go to sleep at night, I fold it up. And then I got my movement space. It's like, okay, here are the little tiny changes we can make in
Hmm.
our immediate surrounding that
Right.
are an intention towards a better state of health. And a better state of health means a lot of things. It means filling up our cup so that way we can show up in a bigger and better way in our lives. And something I thought of while you were speaking is, having to look at ourselves. And sometimes someone shares something with us and it makes us look at ourselves. And it can be hard to do that because it shines the light on the fact that we know, and I believe this is true for everyone, is like in the different areas of our life, we know that we can always improve. We can always get a little bit better. And I think it's really important that we know how to stay in the balance of knowing that there's always improvement to be made, but
Hmm.
also that just because there's improvement to be made doesn't mean we're not enough or we're not valuable
Right.
or there's something wrong
Right.
with us. There is like
Right.
this middle space, and it's like,
Right.
okay, I've come a long way and I've done a lot of things and I've gotten better. There's always more to do and there's always more to
Yeah.
go, but you also
Yeah.
can't get like like downward spiraled
Yeah.
into like,
Yeah.
wow, I'll never be enough. I'll never reach the top. Like, what's the point of even trying to make these small
Right.
improvements? It really is, if you're willing to accept it, a forever game. It's a forever game of like, I'm trying to improve myself. And that means noticing where I deem and I judge on myself there to be insufficiencies or like areas which I can improve. Saying, like, okay, I can improve. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm not enough.
Right.
That doesn't mean I'm not
Right.
valuable. It just means
Right.
there's another game to play. It means there's another adventure
Right.
to have. Um,
Yes.
but I think people are, and I know I am, and I have been, is like, it's scary to look at that because we can very easily think we're not enough. And
Yes.
it scares us away from even looking towards how to
Trying.
change up our
Hmm.
health or our life or anything.
Hmm. And I used to we used to call it when I worked at this little fitness place, the infinite game, which I really liked. That always stuck with me after I heard that. Like, we're playing the infinite game.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
this
yeah.
truly is. I think that's where that freedom comes back into play when I've been turning up the volume on my faith practice again,
Yeah,
because it's so nice to think about like, oh, this is what a short time we have in this on this earth right now. And we are perfectly imperfect as humans. And it takes, again, it just goes back to taking the pressure off
yeah.
of having to reach
Perfect.
some place that we feel is the end goal. It's just there's never an end goal, because I'm so excited now to think about, whoa, if I look at life as not temporary, but just this is a small portion of my life here on earth.
Mm,
I got nothing but infinity, nothing but eternal after.
hmm.
Sweet. I want to
Yeah.
make the best of this life right now and forever be a student, movement
Mm,
and improvement, like you said. And that's been really a healthy mindset, especially as an entrepreneur,
mm,
because if you get stuck in that comparison game,
yeah.
it leaves you feeling I found that when I was deep in that, I was stagnant. It
Yeah.
almost would, it was a paralysis by
Mm,
analysis, truly,
hmm. Hmm.
truly paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know enough. I haven't read this textbook. I haven't worked on this person.
Hmm.
I don't have all the reps that I need, or
Yeah.
man, this person's vocabulary is better than mine. But
Mm.
everyone has their own unique skill set. And it's just about, like you said, finding the value of what you bring to the table and
Yeah.
honoring that
Yeah.
and just being open to learning from others and knowing that I mean, I know my brain is just not meant to hold the entire Earth's
Yeah.
information. Like, it's
No,
just
it's not
not,
fair.
that's, that's too much. That's just
Yeah.
way too much. It's way too much. So
Yeah.
finding your passion, finding your purpose, and how your skills help you continue to build upon those things just opens the door to so many opportunities. And so
Mm.
I think that's really powerful too,
Yeah.
playing the infinite game.
What you're sharing right there about the comparison game, I've felt so many times, and it's for me, I've experienced it to be so exaggerated by having these online spaces to look at, because I believe our subconscious
Right.
mind is interpreting all these people we're seeing as a part of our environment. So all of a
Right.
sudden, our life feels like there's all these people in it who are super high performing people, super knowledgeable. And
Right.
it feels like, man, who am I to try to jump in this pool and give what I have to share, when everywhere you look, it's like, oh, he's better than me at that. He's better than me at that comparison
Mhm.
game. But what really happens when we turn the screen off and go out into the world is we meet people and we say, oh, you have something to share with me that I don't know. And maybe I have something to share with you that you don't know. And in the actual lived experience, there's an abundance of places that we can each individually give our gift and our value to. But the online space is so concentrated and curated for the top performers that we see,
Right.
that we feel like, oh man, there's no space for me
Right.
in this game, really.
Right. It's a tricky, it's a challenging thing
Mm-hmm.
because I know as someone, obviously most of my business is online, so I have
Yeah.
to be active on there.
Yeah.
And because I live across the country from my family, I know I also just it lets them know I'm alive.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
thing. But like you said, it knows and it's intelligent and it starts to learn from what we are attracted to looking at, how much time we spend looking at certain things, who we're looking at, why we're looking at something. It's very smart. So like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it curates our feed and
Mm-hmm.
it can look like, wow, this is my world. This is all I can see. But that
Yeah.
perspective shift, like getting above it and just recognizing, look, there are billions of people in the world
Yeah.
and you're just being fed this tiny little space, I guess, this tiny amount of
Yeah.
input
Yeah.
essentially, but there's so much realness to be had out there away from that space. And I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing we face as coaches and when we're certifying other coaches as well. And you're not alone in this either. So many past coaches, myself included, imposter syndrome is a big
Oh
one. We
yeah.
always talk about that. I think we've talked about that before, but
Yeah.
it's just the nature, I think, of wanting to contribute something to the world and create something that is impactful and
Mm-hmm.
something that you are also proud of. So I think I know that was for me. It's almost that comparison game of that enough, like you said. Do I
Yeah.
know enough? Do I sound eloquent enough?
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that I want to push out into the world? It's not perfect enough,
Mm-hmm.
and so it can really take away from your ability to just create freely when you're just
Yeah.
in your thoughts and you're just feeling that imposter syndrome in a big way.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
are so many people that need help and that
Mm-hmm.
do want to listen and that, as you mentioned, also want to reciprocate and share something with you.
Yeah.
This beautiful back and forth. And so if you can get past that barrier, it's huge. And there's so much freedom in that. And that's what this year has been about, is finding that freedom creatively, spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
physically. There's so much freedom to be had with pushing past the the pressures of what you see in an online space. It's challenging, it's
Yeah.
hard because it's
It
there,
absolutely
but
is.
mhm.
Karlee, I want to know about your recent experience training in person, maybe more particularly at the Uberzadi space, because you've mentioned a few times how
Mhm.
important community is. And then
Mhm.
now we're talking about how important it is to get out into the real world and be with real people, have these real experiences. There's an abundance of people that are willing to learn from us and that we can learn from them too. And by us taking these coaching and leading positions with them, we're also learning a lot about them and ourselves, how do they react to what we have to share? I just want to hear a little bit about your experience at Uberzadi, how that's been, how it's developed, what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm so grateful that BAM made the connection with them last year at their Out of the Box event, and we've been able to continue collaborating with them. We did some work with them last April for a month, which was great. And then meeting those people and just finding that connection and realizing that they were very aligned with how I approach life and movement and family and social capacity and community and just so many things that overall
Mm-hmm.
pulled me down here. It really, truly, I knew I wanted to move to Florida, but that gave me the extra push I needed. And
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful that they've continued to be open and welcoming to me as a coach and what I have to say.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun continuing to feel this collaboration and this development there, this growth. So I look forward to having that continue to grow. But it's given me an appreciation for simplifying
Mm.
movement and awareness. And I think in the online space, when we do have a lot of that comparison or we're being inundated with experts and flashiness and all these diagrams and this and that and feeling like we don't know enough,
Mm.
even when I am in an online coaching role, I do have that same feeling of I need to share everything and everything for this person because maybe this is the only time I'm going to see
Mm.
this person. It's kind of like I have to throw everything into the one session. Maybe I
Yeah.
have extended. I do have clients that I work with online that I work with over the course of, months or years. Actually, I've had a few long-term clients,
Yeah.
but a lot of times it is this quick, almost like that dopamine hit. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
much can I dose you up in this one moment? But
Mm-hmm.
returning to something more in person has given me the opportunity to be consistent with smaller inputs, very simple, powerful connections where I can show things physically. We can get hands on with it. We can have a very extended conversation and dialogue about movement and lifestyle that I can continue returning to. And you
Yeah.
can kind
Yeah.
of really in real time see the growth and changes that maybe sometimes are missed online
Mm.
because you're only seeing someone for maybe a short amount of time and then you kind of have to trust that they're going to do the work on their own until you
Yeah.
see them
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
In person, it's been more frequent, and it just feels like it's the growth, the trust that you have with a young athlete or my colleagues. The trust continues to build. The conversations are dynamic. It's fun.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
exploring things. We're playing. I
Yeah.
feel like it's unleashing this playfulness, this lightness, returning
Mm.
to how I used to feel as a child on a playground.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's what it feels like. And I just, I highly encourage anyone to find in-person connection like that where you can move and play, whether it's, as a coach or just as a mover and someone
Mm-hmm.
who wants to be challenged, find a space that you feel like you can really connect with people and not be afraid to ask questions and
Yeah.
dive into things.
Yeah.
So it's really been amazing there. And also just even with clients here, as we mentioned earlier, being able to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, let's go meet at the beach at this time and we'll do our
Yeah.
session.
Yeah.
And so it's this full circle moment of just seeing them not just being maybe challenged for the sake of being challenged for strength purposes, performance purposes, maybe mobility wise, opening up
Mm.
some new access points that you can just see
Mm.
their
Mm.
mind and body and everything opening up in that moment, but also the presence. Like you can really see
Mm.
that when I'm with somebody at the beach or when I'm with this kid on the treads and I can see we're so present in that moment.
Yeah.
Everything else just
Yeah.
fades away.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
distraction, all the noise is just me and that other person or me and the team. We're
Yes.
high-fiving,
Yeah.
everything in that moment. And I think what happens with social media, especially, we are looking for the next fix. We're
Mm-hmm.
scrolling really fast. Our attention span is all over the place. We're on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
we're on the computer, we're here, we're there, maybe you've got kids and kids are yelling at you at the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much happening. So with this in-person outlet,
Mm.
we are in the moment, we are in our bodies, we are connected in real time.
Yeah.
There's just nothing like that. It's so amazing. I'm sure now, please give me Julian's reflection on that because I love how I could listen to you talk all day, Julian, because it's
Oh,
just,
thank
I
you.
really feel like your awareness is amazing. So,
Wow, that's a really big compliment. Something that was coming up for me was again the importance of the environmental factor and how that feeds into everything. When you're at the gym, that's an intentional space for what you're doing. And that's the association that you have with that space is like, I come here and it triggers these feelings of like, I feel excited to be here. I have fun when I'm here. My body feels good when I'm here. It's the same thing when we're at the beach. It's like, the fresh air, the water, the people, it feels alive, it feels vital. And sometimes in my own life, I notice that if I'm trying to do a practice or some sort of intention in a space that has maybe multi uses, then there's other emotional associations that we make with that place. For some people, being at home can be a really stressful place, depending on the people that are there or maybe the experiences had there. And so it can be super beneficial, it sounds like, to bring someone into a space that's curated exactly. Oh, look at that. Wow, look at that. Yo, I must be on fire. It's curated exactly for what you need and what you want.
Yes.
And that just sounds so beautiful. That sounds exactly like the experience you're having at Uberzadi. And what's even more exciting to me about it is the fact that you guys are working with young athletes. You guys are working with
Yes.
really,
Yeah.
youth with a drive and with a hunger and who want to have fun.
Yeah.
Not only are you giving them a space to really work on themselves, explore themselves, and learn about themselves, but you're creating a really positive environment, a positive association. I always thought about this when I was teaching snowboarding, was like, the number one most important thing, this was actually shared with me from BAM, is like, make sure they enjoy themselves, make sure they have a good time, because that means they're making an association with that experience, that they like it. If they like it, they're going to come back to it. If they come back to it, they're going to practice it. And if they practice, they're going to get better like they want to, like we all want to.
We all
It's
want
so
to.
cool. It's so
I
cool.
love working with the kids. I really do. I know that it's pretty tricky, especially in this space as entrepreneurs, when you have something as big as movement. You want to maybe find your niche essentially so you can tailor your messaging to a specific group of people. But it is hard when you're talking about just natural movement in general. It can be a little bit
Yeah,
tricky.
it's broad.
So I do love working with all kinds of people. I do. I love working with anyone and everyone who is open to receiving that message or wanting to explore their body. I'm very happy to work with that person. But there is something about, I do find I feel more youthful when I go into that space and I am working with the youth in general, because as you mentioned, they are maybe they have been bogged down by the
Yeah.
earth's pressures anymore, the world's pressures too much just yet.
Yeah.
And they are excited and hungry to be challenged, but also learn. They really do want to learn a lot. You can see it in their eyes, and they keep returning. They want to come in because they are having fun too. And what's really special about Uberzadi is the main focus right now is movement and then locomotion. And that's our bread and butter, right? We feed the walk, the run. That is our wheelhouse. We really are looking at that whole system of movement in real time. And at Uberzadi, the goal is to, of course, have kids be stronger, faster, mobile,
Mobile.
have
Yeah.
mobility,
Yeah.
whatever, and durability, of course. So, but the model is based around these incredible treadmills that just prime you for speed. It's insane. And so, what's really cool is kids are running, and I know as adults we get to a point where we see running as an optional thing that we do, as a chore, conditioning. So it's not met with the same excitement and
Or like
enthusiasm.
I can't run. I've heard that.
Or
It's like I just
I've
can't.
given I don't
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just can't. The doctor told me it's bad for my joints. Whatever it is, we actually do lose that ability to run. So maybe, of course, you can't yet. You just have to relearn how to do it, so it's not painful. But to see these kids excited and hungry to express that motion just so naturally is really, really fun. And it just brings out the childlike enthusiasm that I have. And I'm eager to get in there too. So it's a safe place that kids can come to be silly and be challenged and be free in their body and feel things. And you can they kind of look like just a bunch of baby giraffes trying to find
Trying to
their
walk.
movement.
Yeah.
But because it's not about, I feel like it's a place where ego is left at the door and it really is a
Cool.
team
Yeah.
and positive messaging coming through. You could just see that they're excited to
Mm,
want to try hard and they want to sprint fast and they want to jump
mm,
high and they want to push push the barrier on what their body or push their
yeah.
capacity for work, and it's
Yeah.
fun. So they're excited to get in there. They're not dragging in there,
Mm-hmm.
broken down.
Mm-hmm.
They're springy, they're light, and
Yeah.
it kind of infects me. It's very infectious. Their
Yeah.
energy is very
Energy
infectious. So I
giving.
love working with kids like that because
Yeah.
it's so infectious with positive energy
I'm
too.
so curious, Carly, how they react to or how they experience some of the smaller movements that we do, whether it's like rockers or pigeons or
Right.
forward fold, because it is kind of turning down the maybe like the speed of everything and slowing down and
Hmm.
doing a really small movement. This can be challenging for anybody, really,
Right.
but for kids, the youth who are having a lot of energy and maybe they're not used to training in that way, how
Yeah.
much do you share with them? What's their
Yeah.
reaction? How do you incorporate that?
Right. Keeping it super simple, just
Mm-hmm.
simpler than you think, and one thing at a time. So the biggest thing it kind of varies based on age, um, gender. Sometimes the
Yeah.
girls react a little different. It depends on the
Mm-hmm.
space and time and how I approach these things. But again, keeping it super simple and fun.
Mm.
And really, I find that kids are more receptive than we give them credit for. They are really
Cool.
open. They're not indoctrinated
Yeah. Yeah.
by maybe something else quite yet. So they mimic a lot. They will
Mm.
mimic, just like when they
Mm.
learn to move as children, when they learn to do tummy time and crawl and walk, they're mimicking parents. So they
Mm.
mimic you as a coach. Maybe there's a little silliness sometimes. If there's a big
Yeah.
team environment,
Yeah.
there can be a little bit of, especially when you go into rocking,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Everyone's like,
when
haha.
there's hormones are flying around,
Yeah.
you're kind
Yeah.
of rocking back, you're pushing your butt back, and if you're
Yeah.
not holding onto the weight, a lot of this is body weight. It can be a little bit
Mm.
jarring for their minds and bodies, but I do find they dial in pretty quick. They
Cool.
definitely do.
Cool.
Really explaining why you're doing something. So
Yeah.
keeping the cueing
Yeah.
simple and
Mm.
then giving them a reason why. We're
Mm.
in a rocker position. We're opening up your hips. I want to find strong glutes because that's going to help you athlete better. I don't
Yeah.
even have to go into, maybe they're playing different sports, athlete
Yeah.
mode,
Athlete
or
mode. I can run
especially
better. Done. What do I have to do?
athlete. You want to run, throw better, swing harder, run faster on those treads. You see those treads? What
Mm-hmm.
we're doing right now is going to help you up there.
Yeah.
I don't have to
Yeah.
go into deep anatomical understanding,
Mm-hmm.
keeping it simple and relating it back to the why. Why are they doing this? How is
Yeah.
this going to feed their athleticism? Keeps them dialed in. And really just getting them to feel and understanding we're not there to be perfect. There's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
perfect movement. I don't need them to do
Mm-hmm.
the exact rocker. There's going to be a lot of different bodies doing different
Yeah.
uh, types of the movement
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
on the spectrum of the movement. But overall, if they understand why they're doing it and if they're feeling
Mm.
certain things, then you're on the right track. And they embrace it. So now it's been really cool because you give them the why, you have these great interactions, these conversations, and you lead by example.
Yeah. Yeah.
They come in and they start doing it on their own, just like with anything.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
or you know, it's kind of like a sneak attack. They don't
Yeah.
even know
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
getting dosed up with
Yeah.
certain things.
I love that
Even
dosed up.
something, let's just think of the drop in. That can be
Mm.
a very complex thing for someone to learn. It
Mm.
seems so simple. It's just a single leg loading, but it can be pretty
Yeah.
intense if you want them to hit certain patterns and certain sensations.
Yeah.
But just keeping it simple, hey, single leg load, lunge position, hold it. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna feel things.
Mm-hmm.
Heel up. It's gonna challenge them. They're gonna start to get wobbly. Like just starting to make these little tiny micro adjustments. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to deep dive the whole spiral for them. It's
Yeah.
just finding that little piece of the puzzle, giving them a tiny bit of the fractal, and then
Mm.
building upon it as they go. But kids are very receptive. They
Yeah.
want to feel good. They want to be fast. So if they can have a strong why,
Yeah.
they're going to do it. They're
Yeah.
not going to. I find that when I work with adults, there is a lot of this back and forth dialogue where they do need a deeper understanding.
Mm.
That's okay. We can
Mm-hmm.
take it down that road. Kids are much more open and receptive to just tell me what to do. Okay, cool. Do it.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Yeah.
get into it. They're
Yeah.
gonna get into it. So for the most part. they're really receptive.
Would you say in your personal coaching, you're taking on more adult clients than the youth, like in one-to-one online coaching? Is that generally your client base?
Right now, I would say it is a little bit more adult, but I do have even online. It comes in pockets, usually because the kids
Yeah,
are so
yeah,
busy with school.
yeah.
That's
That
the
makes
biggest
sense.
challenging.
Yeah.
I do have one to two. Actually, I have a family from Canada that I've
Oh,
worked with for
cool.
a long time.
Yeah.
hmm
I think you
So I
got
worked
to
with the
see
dad.
them recently, something like that. Did you
Yeah,
post about that?
we got to meet in person for the first time after like 2 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
So cool.
So fun.
Yeah.
So worked with the dad for a while, and then the mom, and then recently I've been working with the daughter a lot. So she's in her senior year in or
Mm-hmm.
grade 12, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
That's it.
remember.
Yeah.
In high school, and but she just really likes to work out. She likes to train. She doesn't even do sports right now. She just
Mm-hmm.
wants to
Mm-hmm.
be healthy. They're a very active family.
Yeah.
So they have a really cool setup in their basement where they've got a
Awesome.
lot going on. And so we
Goals.
just do with what we can until
Yeah.
it's warmer. Then they have a sled. So eventually we'll head out there and hit the sled. But
So cool.
older kids are a little bit more receptive online.
Yeah.
But I would say right now, just because of scheduling and everything else they have going on, my
Mm.
youth clients are usually in person. Those ones
Yes.
I'm seeing a
Okay.
lot more in person with them. Yeah,
Got you.
but it's doable. It's definitely doable. It takes a little bit more patience. I've had clients as young as, how old was this one? She might have been literally 8, maybe
Oh,
6.
wow.
I feel like I want to say
For
6, but
real.
probably 8. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was very young.
Wow.
But you just keep it fun. I feel my mom
Yeah.
was a PE teacher and a
Yeah.
preschool teacher, so I kind of probably adopted some of her playfulness. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not for everyone. It takes a lot of patience.
For
But
sure. For sure. It's a different
fun.
kind of
Very,
coaching.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely different. Very rewarding. I think it's a lot of fun.
My next question is, as a movement coach with all of your experience, I'm curious as to, let's say you get what I might consider an average person who comes to you. They've got a busy job, they've got a family, they've got car payments, mortgage payments, they got other things that they're committed to and they're working on that's important to them in their life. But they've come to you because they want to do something good for their body. Maybe they're middle aged and they're noticing things like sticking or becoming painful, and they want some relief from that.
hmm
What is it that like behaviorally differentiates that person from someone else who might be in a similar position but isn't seeking out those recodes? Like, what do you notice in the clients who actually come to you and want to follow through? What is it about their personality, their demeanor? Maybe it's their values. Like, what do you notice about the people who are actually committing to working with you?
I would say they are usually reaching a point where they're ready to make that investment in their
Mm,
body. They recognize that we do only have one vessel here on this earth.
yeah, yeah,
And if we do not take care of it, the quality of our life is going to drastically decrease.
mm,
And I know personally, especially this when I'm reading about longevity and different cultures who do thrive at ages, I want to continue mimicking that. I don't want to
mm,
just get to a certain age just to get to a certain age. I want to thrive at that age. I want
yeah,
to be very self-sufficient.
yeah,
So I find that most people come to me either when they reach a point where they are either battling an injury, so their body literally shuts down and forces them,
mm,
hey, you are injured,
yeah,
you need help, you're
yeah,
seeking something. And maybe traditional ways
mm,
haven't helped them yet. Maybe they've had some
yeah.
temporary relief, but there's something missing. So
Okay.
their body's physically telling them, I need something different.
They're
I
hitting kind
need,
of like a rock bottom per se, or it's just like it's
yeah,
gotten to the point where I can't ignore it anymore. I need
I
to make a
can't do it on
change.
my own. I cannot ignore,
Yeah.
yes. And they're open to, again, investing in their body. Like they really,
Mm,
because it does, like you said, you've got a laundry list of things you have to take care of.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you can only do those things positively if you're also taking care of your system. Your
Yeah,
body,
yeah,
priority number one, your system needs to be operating efficiently. And
mm-hmm,
so they're ready to make that investment, and they recognize that it is a necessity, like here and now. And
mm-hmm.
they're all also open to learning and absorbing something that maybe is not as mainstream, or maybe is not
Mm,
the current model of moving. They're
mm,
ready to explore something deeper, and they're open
yeah.
to receiving that. They're receptive
Uh,
to being coached and being led. Because
oh,
if
they
you're
can
not
have
receptive,
beginner's mind.
yes, beginner
Mm,
mindset. Because if you're
mm,
not, then I could give you all the recipe you need, but you might not go make the meal. You might not
yeah.
go actually do the cooking yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely beginner mindset. And then it kind of even splits off in two ways with those clients, because I have some
Mm,
people that they are open to a certain investment,
mm-hmm.
but maybe they need extra accountability. And
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
you need to see me once a week. You do need to meet with me, so that way we can keep the needle moving in the right
Mm,
direction. Because
mm-hmm.
you can have the
Mm-hmm.
awareness, I can
Yeah.
give you the tools, but it's going to take effort, and it's going to take dedication, and it's going to take time.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to show up for yourself outside of that. So
Mm-hmm.
some people, maybe this is all they need. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they don't have a big investment, a big uh, amount of resources that they can allocate towards something long term.
Mm,
That's okay. There are so many options for those type of people. Maybe just I would recommend at least just an assessment and session with a
mm-hmm.
movement coach. Get the ball moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then there's so many free resources that we all are continuing to create and put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So be
Mm-hmm.
hungry for it.
Yeah.
But it is going to take effort. And that's the
Yes.
hard part. It is going to
Yeah.
take ownership and discipline and effort, because, you and I can't wake
Mm.
them up in the morning and
Yeah.
drag them out of their bed, or go to their
Exactly.
house every time they're on the couch, or say, hey, I
Yeah.
need you to take your shoes off right now, or go for a
Yeah.
walk.
Yeah.
So it definitely takes effort. But I
Mm.
find the people who have the most success and do see a lot of changes,
Mm.
positive developments, they're really feeling different things in their body, are the ones that dedicate and invest at least, um, I would say, the recode process that we do.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
dedicating some time to that. They're allocating resources, saving up whatever they need to do, because spending 3 to even extended 6 months with a personal coach,
Game changing.
it's game changing. It's
Completely game
so game
changing.
changing. You
Mm.
100% can do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to just take maybe a lot more time, or it's going to take effort on your end.
Mm-hmm.
And I know
Mm-hmm.
there's crazy people like us. We make it happen. We're going to show up for our body. We're going to do the work. But it's hard when you have, as you mentioned earlier, X, Y, and Z happening on the side. It takes a little bit of
100%.
accountability. And
A
that's where we
hundred
come in.
percent.
We will hold space for you to be able to show up for your body. We will be your advocates for your body.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the difference between, if someone's just not searching for it yet, maybe they don't even know where to look. Maybe they don't
Mm-hmm.
even know that their body can make the change that they need
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm.
continue thriving in a really amazing way in their life. It's the awareness piece. I find that people who do take the consultation step, who do say, I want an assessment, who do say, I
Yes.
want to learn something,
Yeah.
they are more open-minded, free thinkers, beginner
Mm-hmm.
mindset, and hungry for movement, and just a return to
Mm.
something different, a return to nature. They're ready
Yeah.
for it. I don't know if that's the best description, because again, maybe those other people are. I feel like there's probably a better way to put this, but it's either somebody thinks. I think we kind of talked about this sometimes in our cert process, so I'll give a little
Mm.
insight into that. It's just,
Yeah.
we're either people who believe this is who I am, I'm ill, it is what it is, I have no ability to change my circumstance,
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck in this body,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to have pain, I will have surgery eventually, this is
Mm-hmm.
my body for the rest of my life, I'm
Yeah.
getting old, it's part of the game, it
That's
is
the
what it is.
cards. Yep.
That's the cards. Or you have the opposite mindset where you say, no, let me take a step back. Let me take a look. What in my life has been contributing to this compression? How
Mm-hmm.
did I get to this point?
Mm-hmm.
How did I didn't just wake up with pain. At what point did I start to move less efficiently?
Yeah.
What inputs was I giving my body to
Yeah.
take away from my body's natural ability to move pain-free for my life?
Yeah.
And so those people are ready to step into ownership and the active role of reclaiming their movement and seeking help. Because you can do
Yes.
it on your own, but it's reaching out for help
Mm.
is, even coaches need coaches. I'm always learning and
100%.
evolving. So
If we
that beginner mindset.
Yeah, I think if you believe in coaching and you want to be a coach, having a coach makes total sense. I always feel the great benefit of having a community or someone to keep me accountable for the kinds of changes that I want to make. And for us to make these changes, I believe in myself, it has to become a way of prioritization. And so I see this as being really valuable. I'm understanding and feeling, having visceral human experiences about how my life feels different when I do take time to take care of my body, and
Hmm.
seeing that benefit and that change rise, and then also thinking, well, how much better can it get if I do that with my body? But the thing is we can't say yes to everything. When we say yes
Right.
to something, we say no to everything else, like for that amount of time.
Yes.
And so for someone who maybe has a packed schedule, but who has
Right.
realized that they want to make a positive change in their body, he goes,
Right.
okay, well, what's my list of priorities? Is taking care of myself really high on that list? Is it number one? And if it is, that means I need to make space for it. And so, what kind of
Hmm.
things do I need to let go of to make space for that? And that letting go of these things can also be really challenging, because that might mean saying, hey, friend, this thing we do every week or every morning, I might have to let go of that. And I'm really sorry, but it's in my best interest. And it's not only because I'm trying to take care of myself, but it's actually because I'm trying to take care of my whole life, which includes relationships with other people. And so sometimes it means stepping away from those things in order to make
Yeah.
them a little bit stronger. But it really requires seeing taking care of ourselves as a priority, I think,
Right.
and
Right.
how that, and we make our own choice about, you know, what's more important to us, and like what supersedes that, and when we make exceptions and whatnot. So it can be really challenging, because again, that's another pattern disruption, is saying I'm needing to let go of this thing that I've been doing in order to make room for this. And you might disappoint some people might not understand. That's all really painful. And it also might mean that, like, admitting to ourselves, like, hey, if I'm going to take ownership of this, I need to admit that I haven't been taking as good of care of my body as I could be. And there is no shame in that, though we may feel a sensation of shame, but it's actually really empowering to admit that, because that's us stepping into our creative power, our creative responsibility. And it's the first step, in my experience, towards feeling like, okay, like I can have some choice and I can have some creative power about how my life looks and feels. But it's
Yes.
not comfortable. It can't be comfortable. It can't be easy.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That's super empowering.
Mm.
That's everything you said. Yes. Yes to all of that. Yes to all of that. Just it's that effort piece too. It is.
mm, mm,
It takes extra effort at the beginning, just like with
yeah.
anything. And it's hard. And as you said, it might disappoint some people.
Yeah.
But when you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel,
Uh
you start
huh.
to feel better. It
Mm-hmm.
all is worth it. It all is
Mm-hmm.
worth it. And again, if somebody maybe doesn't have the space or finances right now to do a heavy dose of investing, it's okay. There
Mm-hmm.
are so many ways that you can invest in your body that cost nothing, that really take
Mm-hmm.
minimal effort.
Mm-hmm.
It really can be so basic.
Yeah.
And that's why we continue to put, and that's why going back to social media, this is one of the benefits of social media, because we can share. We'll
Mm-hmm.
share our experience. We'll share the things that got us to feel really positive sensations in our body and our mind, and help you fast track that progress.
Yes.
Learn from us,
Yes.
like take the lessons that we've had to battle through, but we're trying to get you there faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so many great avenues that people can access videos and connect with coaches, ask questions, so that way they can seek progress and it doesn't have to be this unattainable accomplishment.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
sacrifices, little choices, but it is
Yeah.
attainable for everybody. It truly is. I fully believe that too. If we
I,
can do it, you can do it.
yeah. I
It
think
might
so
look a little
too.
different.
I love,
Yeah.
again, the idea of the infinite game, right? Because we're
Yeah.
we're doing our own work, our own exploration, so that way ideally we can pass on what we've learned to the next
Mhm.
generation, so that way they can do it better than we did. That way they can skip some of the mistakes we
Yes.
made, and we're
Yeah.
passing along that torch. But
Right.
there's, it can be defeating, I find, for me to think that there's going to be some point, some time, some experience, something that's just going to be like, you did it, you're done, right? And like,
Yeah.
it's not going to be that until I take my last breath. It's like always a
Mhm.
game of progress, always a game of moving,
Mhm.
and that's that like storytelling almost. It's like, here's the experiences we've gone through, I share it with you, you can take that,
Mhm.
and I want you to, you know, supersede me. I want you to
Right.
have a better experience in your body than I
Yes.
ever could have. Like, how cool is
Yes.
that?
Right.
And how
Right.
much can we feed how much can we feed the next coming generations? Because
Yes.
for a lot of us, that's what the generation before us did. And it's really easy for us to point out the flaws or shortcomings in one another, but can we also take our mindset and shift it and say, like, well, what kinds of things did they overcome that I haven't had
Right.
to overcome and I'm actually really
Right.
grateful for? And then maybe I
Yes.
can expect, like, you know, I want to have a family someday. Maybe my kids are going to grow up and be like, Dad, like, why are you doing that kind of stuff? Like, I can't believe you're
Yeah.
not like this. I can't believe you're not doing that.
Yeah.
And I would just be
Yeah.
like, I know, like, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you feel like, and it's all right. But yeah,
It's a
that's
cycle. It's a cycle.
yeah,
I love
yeah, it is a cycle.
it.
Man. Karlee, this conversation has been exactly what my intention is for this podcast, which is uplifting, which is enlightening, and I think part of what I want to share here or create here is um an environment, because I think that when we consume things, when we listen to things, when we watch things, when we're with the people around us, we're curating our environment. And I've noticed in my life, it can be, well, it is extremely powerful, the influence that environment has on us. We spoke about that. But, you know, if I'm in a space or a place that I find is creating stress in my life, then having things like podcasts of people talking and thinking in ways that align with me can really help me stay grounded and like stay in my body and just on the path that, you know, I feel is meant for me. And so this is just so cool that we can share this and that we can be on the same kind of wavelength and talk about the same things and
Oh yeah.
find a lot of relation through that. It's such a powerful thing. Primal Movement has created such a curated space for that, and yeah, I can't wait for more.
Oh yeah. I'm so again proud. This is so amazing, Julian. I can't even begin to express enough like how strong and introspective your voice is. Truly a
Thank you.
gift. So I think gift from God, I would say. And finding it and being able to use it for this alignment purpose, this
Mm,
good in the world, this is a light in the world.
mm.
Your light room.
Oh
Oh my
shoot!
God.
What is this?
Light,
Every time.
light room every time.
Lightroom. Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. And I can't wait to see how these conversations continue to unfold. I'm so grateful that you let me come on here and chat with you. I think this is just the beginning. We'll probably have so many more chats. And thank you for letting my brain
Absolutely.
do this. This is what I need. I need a Julian just with me all the time because my brain
Yeah.
talks in spirals and then clarity. So
Yeah. That's a big
I'm so
compliment.
grateful. This is when myself, Bam, and Jameson just continue to come together and create something like this primal movement space. This is what we had in mind. People like
Mm,
yourself finding their creative outlet, using their voice, talking about movement, finding ways to connect with people and help people and just lift everybody up. It's just
yeah.
can't even express enough how amazing this is. So thank you so much. This is so fun. And I know we'll have lots of chats to come.
Yes, absolutely. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I got all these
Yes.
kinds of like thumbs up bubbles popping up every minute or so. So much fun. And yeah, I
Cool.
just want to thank you, Karlee, for giving your unique special gift into this space that I'm trying to create and I'm trying to enjoy.
Wonderful.
I've enjoyed this so much. And yeah, we'll have another one. And I look
All
forward to the
right.
next time we can
Yes,
all link
sir.
up. Yes.
See you. I'll see you on the virtual world until you're back in Florida.
In the virtual
Owens.
world. Well, I might see
Or
you.
I'm
I'll
going
see
to
you
see
in
you in Oregon.
Oregon.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
see you in Oregon. All
Yeah,
right.
that's what's up. Okay, Karlee. Enjoy the
Cool.
rest of your day. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye, Julian.
Goodbye.